no idea how many men and boys even steal food from their families. I didn't realize that was a thing. I was fortunate enough to grow up in a house of all women, single mom, my sister, even our dog, Fifi, Marie Hamlin, as a female. So I am learning every day how much of this stuff starts early. And I actually got asked to talk about this because it starts with brothers. So first of all, if people ask me all the time, well, what do we do? How do we fight patriarchy? If you are a parent, stop letting your sons hoard all the food, or dads have all the food, and especially sons, because dads are oftentimes just going to take whatever they want. So this actually came up on Twitter, not calling it X, and it's horrifying how common this is. I also want to add that as I used to teach teenagers, like these Nepo babies in Hollywood, I used to do outdoor education jobs with them. I'd spend a whole week with them on the river or in the desert and stuff. And I was in charge of making sure they all got fed. And the teenage boys were so stressful, right? I know they have an appetite, a bottomless pit of an appetite. They're growing men, right? Sometimes I'm like, are you consuming 10,000 calories a day? Because it seems like it. I understand that they can't always help that, but they are taught from an early age to not give a fork about anyone else and their needs. In fact, I actually started making sure that all of the girls and the smaller boys got fed first before I let the bigger team, especially the athletic ones, have access to the food. Because not only do they have an insatiable appetite, they eat fast, right? So while someone is working on their first piece of pizza, the other boy has eaten half of it. But I didn't realize that men are still doing this. Because again, I didn't have a dad in my house doing this, but apparently the dads do it and then their sons do it. So let me just read you a couple of examples, because this is apparently a big problem. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because somebody wrote this asking me if I could talk about it. Can you do a video on how men, I get a lot of requests, y'all. I don't see them all. I can't keep up with them. If you've made a request before, I really can't keep up with them. So it's so random, the ones that I respond to. But this one caught me on a day and I was like, whoa, can you talk about how men eat up all the food, leaving nothing left for the wife and kids? I thought it was just my house, but apparently it's common. This is one of the things I love about Reddit and, all these apps. It's a lot of women sharing stories, being like, is this a thing? Because this seems unfair. And then other ones being like, yeah, this is unfair. And then everyone talking about it. And then hopefully things eventually changing. She talks about how she has scoliosis. So standing for a long period of time is very difficult, bending over, cooked a birthday cake for her mom. Then she's in pain for doing this. Basically dad they don't even think, pig of a father just ate practically all the food. Mom loves cooking and just wanted her to do this for her special day, and dad ruined it. Me hungry. I see food, I eat. Fork the rest of my family. That's how some of these men think. They're so entitled and tunnel vision selfish. And this is where women are raised to be overly concerned about our impact on everybody, right? And men are conditioned under patriarchy to only be focused on themselves, or maybe other men, right? But not think about their impact at all. Women can learn a lot from men. We need to be more like men in terms of constantly asking ourselves, what do I need here? Am I okay? What do I want? And men need to ask themselves more, how am I impacting everybody, right? Because we are too far on the codependency spectrum, and they're too far on the individualism, selfish prick spectrum. We could learn a lot from them how to be more selfish, because even at our most selfish, a lot of us are still doing too much. Another horror story. When I was 12, my mom made a huge pot of chili for dinner. While we were gone, basically, dad just ate the whole thing. Look, as a teen, my doctor frequently complained that I was underweight and needed to eat more. And then talks about how all of this is gave her eating issues. So I saw this on Twitter several weeks ago. So I went back and found these screenshots that I took, because I was like, this seems important. These things is how we condition men to just be menning, right? Look at this. This is someone posted this video of like this 19-year-old kid talking about everything he ate in just one day. And a lot of people didn't believe it. But anyone who has ever worked with like teenagers between the age of 15 and like 20, or has had older brothers, or just king baby dads, knows that they can eat an unfathomable amount of food. But look at this. This is triggering me because sisters of growing boys suffer. Oh my God. Food shop finishing in one day because your brother decided he is the first one to have a stomach. And then it was filled with stories. I literally had to hide food in the fridge in butter containers and plastic bags from my little brother. Hiding food in your own home. Not because of some other threat, but literally because your selfish brother and, just as importantly, the parents that enable that selfishness. And this is where, like, boy moms, I'm never going to blame you for patriarchy, but I am going to hold you responsible for you participating in it despite our conditioning. Stop treating your sons differently than your daughters. And that may mean that you let your daughters eat first, or you have harsh rules around your sons because they will literally steal food from their sisters because they just do what they want. They are not born this way to just do whatever they want. They are taught this, sometimes very subtly and sometimes outright because their dad sucks. Their moms spoil them and then treat their daughters differently. This is the thing. I talk about this all the time. So many moms will treat their daughters so much differently than their sons. And that is literally where all this starts, okay? That boy is going to grow into a man who exploits all the women in his life. And that daughter will oftentimes go and, settle for some piece of crap dude because she's been taught through her own mother and her father that her needs are not that important. Never as important as a man's. This one is so, oh gosh. My brother would come out of his room, take a third of the pan of lasagna or the entire large pizza and then go skulk back to his cage. Right? Like so many of these men and boys, yeah, they will just come out after all that labor, the shopping, the time, the preparation, the cooking, all that stuff, come out, take the food and leave. Won't even be in communion with the very women, oftentimes women, not always, who made that food. And I know that, like, I remember being a teenager and just being like, oh, leave me alone. It's the audacity, though, right? All these stories are really funny. My brother and his friends will cook 2 kilos of meat and eat it all in one day. Parents had to hide our lunch boxes. This one right here. Can't be bothered to even make a sandwich, so they'll eat all the snacks. Snacks are super expensive. All these boxes of like cookies and it's kind of crazy how expensive snacks are, right? But a sandwich would actually be more filling. But these boys will just down like an entire bag of chips or like a whole box of cereal, and cereal is expensive. It's like $5. Look at this. I have 5 sons. Look, this one's older brother would eat her food that she had packed for herself for a 12-hour shift at work. This one right here is really disturbing. And it doesn't end. My sister and I were 28 and 31 when I tweeted this. Look at this. My brother, 6'3", 300 pounds, comes over unannounced. Sister and I immediately start fighting out how to feed him. Ben's here. I guess he can have my chicken. I'll eat leftovers. There's still the barbecue chicken from yesterday and the hamburger buns. Yeah, I'll eat that and he can have that. Can we just stop letting them do this? Like, I understand that it's the first step is for us to talk and share stories and realize that, oh, it's not just me. This is really messed up. But that's not enough. When we say decenter men, I'm not just talking about romantic. That's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean decentering men in terms of how we see ourselves, what we think we deserve. Why does this brother get to come over to your house and then all of a sudden all your food is just his? And you're gonna, I guess I'll eat leftovers. Why? That is an active choice you are making. I know that is what he feels entitled to and he expects, and maybe he's gonna be a jerk if he doesn't get it. Let him be a jerk. Don't get mad. Unless you are in actual physical danger, we need to start letting these men be mad at us because this is insane. Love this one. And they say having a girl is expensive. He's eating $200 a day. All this stuff starts at home. You have a son, teach him to be thoughtful.